I am not a native English speaker. My first language is... Let's try again. As some of you may or may not be able to tell right now, I am not a native English speaker. My first language is Thai, and I started learning English when I was 13. I get asked all the time from both native English speakers and non-native English speakers asking me, why is my English so good? How did I learn English and where did I learn English? And this video is precisely what I'll be sharing with you today. I also don't claim to be speaking the best of English at the same level that the natives do. However, I do know that I am fluent. I do know and aware that my level of English speaking could be better had I spent more time doing more learning and doing more practicing. However, sometimes life just got in the way. If you've been to this channel tour, you know that I have fortunately to be able to go to the US for a year to study. However, I just wanted to put it out there that my English was already pretty good before I went to the US for study. Obviously, spending time abroad does help improving my English quite a lot, but I just wanted to lay it out on the table that I was quite fluent already before I went abroad. Now, the way I learned English was predominantly self-taught. I'm just a girl on the internet who accidentally found my way to English fluency, and I am here to share my experiences. Bear in mind that I am not a qualified English teacher, so if you're looking for professional help, then this video may not be for you, but I'm ready to share how I got here. The first thing I did was I found some of the songs that I really enjoy listening to. I printed out the lyrics and I sang along. Now, this may be a bit awkward at first if you're anything like me, because at the time I felt I sounded horrible singing a song, let alone singing an English song, but you get used to it. I did this in my teen years purely because I have this love in music and I was just interested in being able to sing those songs. I didn't start because I thought it was going to help me improving my English. I mean, at the time, my focus wasn't to improving English at all. It was just that I really enjoy listening to music. But thinking back about it now, I think learning with this method makes so much sense, because if you think about how children, young children or babies learn a language, you see that they learn from listening, adults speaking, and then they'll try to mirror or mimic what adults are speaking. Listening to music and try to sing the same way that the artists do would then help you with pronunciation of the words and in sentences. This will also help expand your knowledge in English vocabulary, because almost certainly when you listen to a song or when you print out the lyrics for a song, you almost always come across a word that you don't know what it means. And what you naturally do is then you will try to Google it and see what the meaning is, and that's how you learn. I always think that the best way to learn anything is to self-research, and I think that's the way that you can memorize it better. It's more of an active learning process rather than just people telling you information and giving you information, which is a passive learning process. But do bear in mind though that learning via music with this method will certainly help you with your pronunciations, and you may learn a few new words that you didn't know before. However, this method will not help you with your grammar. But I do think that when it comes to fluency, you need to put grammar aside for now. You should focus more on how well you're speaking, how well you're writing, and how well you're communicating. So just purely focus on fluency rather than grammar in this stage. But if you're not a music lover, although who doesn't like music, there is another option of learning, which is via watching films or series. At the time, as my purpose of listening to English music wasn't really to improve my English, but was about the joy of listening to music and being able to sing along. But from time to time, when I heard interesting words or sentences when I watched films or series, I would try to say the words repeatedly, which I now come to learn that is called shadowing method. Like I said, at the time, my focus was on the music. However, if you're really serious about learning English and become fluent, then why not do both? After a whole year of singing English songs and learning some of the words from films and series, it was just like that. One day I walked in and having to do a speaking test to be qualified for a foreign exchange student program to the US. I was up against students from more privileged background than me, people who were fortunate enough to study in international schools or bilingual schools. However, the teachers who were native English speakers were very impressed with my level of speaking and communicating in English, and that's when I started to take English a bit more seriously because I knew that I could be good at it. And that's when I started to talk to myself. Of course, the best way to learn English is to speak it with native English speaker. No doubt about that. However, not everyone is fortunate enough to have that option. I know I didn't. So what I started doing when I started to take English a bit more seriously was to talk to myself in English. Now, a lot of time when it comes to learning a new language, comfort and confidence are mostly going to be the thing that hold us back. Speaking to yourself in English is a great way to conquer your inner fear of speaking English. It will force you to basically spitting out the words in English. It is such a great way to build confidence within yourself. And if you have a pet, then why don't you talk to your pet? It may sound a bit crazy, but when it comes to fluency, practice makes it perfect, and you are going to need a lot of it. Probably going to take a bit of effort, but it could help if you have a group of friends who also want to learn and improve English as well, is to hang out with your non-native English speaker friends but then speak to them in English. This is certainly not what I accomplish very often, but occasionally I would agree with my Thai friends that we would have an English speaking day. Let me tell you this, it will be awkward at first because naturally you would want to converse with your friend in your native language. However, speaking to them in English doesn't really only help your speaking skills, but it also helps your listening skills and in turn also help them. So I think it is such a great activity to do with your friends. I always feel that the most difficult conversations in English that I've had is the ones that I've had with the non-native English speakers, and I think the reason being all of us learn English from native English speakers mostly, which although good, but it creates another problem in itself. Learning English from native speakers only will eventually lead you to have some difficult times when you have conversation with non-native English speakers. So I think learning this way with your friends, both of you non-native English speakers, are a good way for you to get used to other accents apart from the native accents. Another thing you can do is to use the quotes or idioms that you come across to your advantage. When you're watching a film or going down your Instagram feed, you're most likely going to come across a quote or an idiom that you find interesting. What I did was I note down the meaning of the idioms or the quotes and I memorized it, and I also noted down the situation where I can use these quotes, and I just simply went for it. Now this really elevated my English speaking skills to another level. It really helps me sound more fluent. I will give you some that I've used quite frequently to prop up my sentences. Not my cup of tea, which means that something is not what you like or you're interested in. Leave no stone unturned, which means do everything you can to achieve good result. It's a piece of cake, which means easy or not difficult to perform or to do. Get out of hand, which means getting out of control. Last but not least, I think it's really important to bear in mind that you will make mistakes, and perhaps a lot of it, but don't let that put you off from learning and speaking English. You may be worried that your grammar is not perfect. While my grammar is not perfect neither, I make mistakes all the time, and I have probably made quite a fair few mistakes in this video already. But you know what? Same as native English speakers, you'll be surprised how many times I notice people misuse the words to, and to. I hope you found this video helpful. Please do come back to this channel to check out more content about international living, life in London and British culture. If you haven't checked me out on Instagram, please do so. I normally post about my more of a personal life in London, and if that's something that you're curious about, then please do check out my Instagram page. That's it for me today. I hope you take care and I'll see you next time. Khop khun kha. Bye.